Hello, and welcome to my English 3 final assessment project. I decided to choose my Richard reflection and my critical thinking process reflection. In my critical thinking process reflection, I remember from this assignment that we worked with Mr. Sassman, Lady and the Tiger, we did poster projects, and we took critical thinking elements and added them into different assignments and then found claims and supporting evidence. For the Richard reflection, in that reflection, I discussed my opinions on the final assessment for Richard and for the entire unit. Between the two reflections, I stayed pretty positive. From February to May, I had a pretty positive attitude with both of my reflections. For example, in my first reflection, I wrote, when I first read the songs, it was immediately more fun, which engaged me more into learning and applying the process. I feel it would be beneficial to have more practice similar to this so that we could get the hang of it and fully understand it. So I kind of just take a compliment of what I liked about the assignment and then add a piece of constructive criticism. So another thing that I wrote was I liked that we had options on what to do and we could pretty much do any idea we came up with as long as it made sense. Next year for this unit, one thing that I think would be helpful is making some sort of character chart as you are given a new character in the text, adding it to the chart. Again, I took something that I really liked about the assignment and then I just added something that I think could help the students next year. I will use this understanding in the future just to continue being a positive person. I think it's really helpful in life just to stay positive. So, looking back on this, I want to just continue to be a positive person. Every once in a while, I could get a little bit more critical of my work or someone else's work just to make it that much better and just to push myself to be my best. But overall, I think it's pretty good that I've stayed pretty positive and I'm really happy. One skill set that I think I really lacked in and what my skill set was like before is my word choice. Pretty much in most of my essays, I became very repetitive and was using the same words all the time, and it just wasn't helpful. It was not looking good. I kept to the same basic words and never really improved or expanded upon that, so that's one area I definitely lacked in. Also, just pulling words from quotes and successfully applying them to a meaning or an explanation that I was trying to put together in my essay. I knew I had to pull words out from an essay, but I wasn't able to successfully do it, so I definitely needed to work on that coming into this year. One lesson and process that really helped me throughout this year and in improving my writing skills was our lessons on connotation and denotation. It helped me not only expand my vocabulary, but it also helped me to just pick out specific and detailed words to really get at the meaning that I was aiming for throughout the entire essay and have really specific details on what I wanted and what I wanted my essay to say. Also, just throughout the year having so much practice with pulling out words from quotes and really digging deep into a quote like we did with Catcher when we pulled out apart the red hunting hat. Stuff like that really helped me because I was able to dig deeper into the text that I was looking at and reading and dig deeper into the quotes I was finding and really find words that meant something. I think my skills have become better in both this area. Not only has my vocab really grown, but I'm able to successfully pull out words from text and give them a deeper meaning. In my archetypes essay from when we did Catcher in the Rye, I took words out like little, bad, angry, words like that, and I gave them more meaning. So in one of the pieces of my essay, I took out little and I put in teensy bit, which kind of added a little more specific detail to the text. Also, when pulling words out, I tried to take more meaning in putting into them. So I took out a word at one point when Holden was really angry, and I explained how that specific word really showed how upset he was, and I kind of added that just so that it had a deeper meaning to the text. I think this classroom setting really did allow me to thrive. I really liked that we were in small little groups, so we were able to discuss or edit or go over something that we didn't understand with the person right next to us. You had a few people at your table that you could talk to, so you could get different opinions on things, but you could also help each other out and keep each other going throughout the class. It was really helpful and beneficial because I think we were all able to just discuss and have our own little conversations, but then bring it back to the entire class and kind of see everyone's differing opinions on something. So I really think that this classroom setting allowed us to thrive. This class has really inspired me throughout this year because I'm a big reader. I really do like to read. As you can see, I have all my books on my bookshelf, and this is just the ones that I've read and that I really enjoy. All my other books are in my closet or either downstairs. I really love to read, and last year in English, I didn't really enjoy the books. They all had like the same meaning and the same kind of story and just put in different ways, and I didn't really enjoy any of them. So coming into this year, I was excited to read some new stuff, and I really enjoyed all of the books we read for many different reasons. I liked different ones stylistically, I liked different ones just because I liked the story. So the class really inspired me to get back into reading, and it made me really excited because I was like ready to go home and read books that I really liked because I was inspired in class to go home and read and just continue reading all the time. So this class really inspired me to get back into my reading on my free time and just enjoy some really good books. One suggestion I have for this year is that next year when you do the critical thinking process lesson with the kids, just keep giving them practice, and more practice. That was one thing that was really difficult this year. I believe was one of the hardest lessons I've learned in English, and I just really think the students would benefit next year if they had a little bit more practice with it, with like different types of readings and passages too, not just like one or two. Like give them a few because it was a little bit too difficult at some times and I was getting really stressed out over the process. But after a while, after you do more practice and more practice, it got a lot easier. The book that I think had the most impact on me this year was definitely Richard. I am not the biggest Shakespeare fan, and I have struggled with Shakespeare in the past in high school, so going into this I wasn't very excited, but then looking at the historical context and kind of seeing the mystery behind the plot and behind the story of it all got me really excited. So when we started reading, I actually really enjoyed it, and I was really happy going into it and coming out of it, and it was just really exciting, and I think it had the greatest impact on me. However, stylistically, I really enjoyed Catcher in the Rye. This year, reading that book was kind of unlike anything I've read before. It was just so flowy and movie, and it just kind of didn't almost go together, but it did, and it all tied together, and he was kind of everywhere and nowhere at the same time. It was really cool. I liked the way that it was like short, choppy sentences at some points, but also there's times where he used huge new vocabulary that I've never seen. It was really funny, and I think it added like a comedic kind of viewpoint to it, which I really liked because it wasn't expected to me. I didn't know what to expect, and then that came out. It was really cool. I loved the stream of consciousness type of writing. I thought it was really interesting to read and something I've never read before. If I were to change anything about the curriculum this year, it would probably just focus again on the critical thinking process. I think we just need more time to study that because it was just a difficult lesson to learn. But other than that, I really liked the sequence of the books and how the books flow, and I enjoyed all of the books this year. So I don't really have much to change about the curriculum, but if I were to change anything, it would probably just be the critical thinking process. I believe when coming to be proactive in assignments, I wasn't someone who was super proactive. I'm kind of would push problems off to the side, or if I had problems would go to a friend before I'd go to a teacher or something like that. I would try and figure them out on my own as best as I could. I'm a pretty independent person, so I try my best not to need help from others, but sometimes you do, and I didn't always necessarily take that option, and I just tried to do everything on my own, which isn't necessarily the best thing to do, but going forward, I know I have to be more proactive in my assignments. One area that I could definitely grow in as a learner is just being a little bit more outgoing. I tend to be kind of shy and independent and not get super involved with my classes unless I get to feel like really, really comfortable. And I feel like if I get more involved with my class and speak out more in my class, I'll definitely get a lot out of it. I'm a true believer in what you put in, you're going to get out. And I think I need to kind of practice what I preach a little bit more and put a little bit more effort in when speaking up in class. I do my best of my ability to always put a lot of hard work into all my assignments and my work, but just speaking out in class and talking and discussing is something I definitely need to work upon. I think just getting more involved in my classes will help me take in a lot more and get a lot more out of it, and I think it'll really help me as a learner. Welcome to my final assignment for English. So, the two reflections I chose were